Good day and welcome back to another DB Gekishin Squadra video. In this video we're going to talk about divine cards, how they work, divine combo cards, everything you need to know, etc. Just, so players know what to choose, when to choose, etc. So let's talk firstly, how do you unlock them? Well, you unlock them by completing 5 matches. You will then unlock the ability to use divine combo cards, and these cards are basically small passives that you can choose throughout the game that will enable your character to have different effects in battle. They're completely adaptive, so the ones you choose in each match can be completely different, and all characters have access to all the cards. So tanks can choose damage ones, damage dealers can choose tanking ones. There's no real limitations to them. In terms of the basics and how it works, you have 3 slots. Each slot has 2 reds, 2 greens, and 2 blues to choose from. So for example, in the slot 1 card, you see we have, for example, Lightning Swift to choose from. We could also choose the Snowball one or the Tank Up one, etc., etc. Then, as we progress and unlock slot 2, we'll be able to choose from there, and then eventually slot 3. You can pick any card with any character. There's no limit. You could have 3 red cards on a tank character, for example. You could have 3 greens on a damage dealer. It's entirely up to you. The important thing to take note is that if you do have 1 blue, 1 red, and 1 green, you will get a special buff on your character. It's also important to note that you will have the ability to change cards in battle, but you will have to earn them. We'll talk about how you earn the cards in battle and change them and select them very, very shortly. But basically just know that if you have a blue, green, and a red, you will also get a special buff. So let's talk in-game and selecting cards. Firstly, you will have to select an option before you begin the match to have the card selection be manual or automatic. If it's automatic, the game will choose cards for you based on popular picks for that hero. If you go manual, you will have direct control over the cards. I highly suggest you only go manual once you are much more familiar with the card list, your characters, and matches in general. So now, how do we earn cards? Well, it's pretty straightforward. You see a little card meter at the bottom of your screen and 3 empty slots. You fill up that meter by defeating NPCs, boss characters, or enemy players. Defeating enemy players will be the fastest way to fill up that bar, and defeating boss mobs in the jungle, being characters like Android 16, Jocko, etc. Once that bar fills up, you'll be able to choose a card. When that bar fills up the first time, you can choose cards from slot 1, when it fills up the second time from slot 2, when it fills up the third time from slot 3. You can then change your card if you earn another charge. So if you fill up the bar again, you may select any of your slots and change any of those cards. So you can adjust them later on. Now we know how the cards work and how we can select them. Let's talk about what the best picks are for each role. Understand that each character will have certain ones that suit them better, and you may want to change them based on how your game is going. If you find yourself being snowballed, you may want to become very tanky. But let's talk about tank selections and discuss what they're looking for. So for tanks, you generally are looking for cooldown, but there are some very popular picks right now for most classes. Lightning Swift is one of them, due to the fact that it allows you to pop a lightning strike when you vanish step. This is very helpful for catching characters that run away as a tank, because the lightning strike will break their fast movement. So if a character run away from you and you hit them with your vanish step or chase after them, you can break their movement speed. The rest are all pretty solid in slot 1, but nothing really too crazy. You could take Tank Up if you feel like you really want to become tanky, but it's not necessary. In slot 2, there's nothing that stands out except for Decoy. Decoy is probably the number 1 ability in this section, Art of the Decoy. The reason is because it gives you a lot of mobility. If you're obstructed by another player in a group fight or group setting, especially as a tank, that will happen a lot, you will get a reduction in the cooldown on your vanish step as well as a movement speed buff. This will allow you to maneuver way better around the battlefield. And then in slot 3, there are some very interesting picks for tanks. There's never really a wrong pick if you know how to use it, but generally speaking, I would say the number one pick for me is Limit Breaking Jump. This gives you 2 vanish steps. This is probably the most popular pick right now, and I'll be choosing it for pretty much every role because 2 vanish steps let you really escape from battle, really let you enter into battle, maneuver, and when you combine it with Lightning Swift, it makes a very, very good combination. For DPS, it's the same thing. Lightning Swift is an excellent first choice. I will say Snowball can be very devastating with a DPS. If you look at like Kale, for example, she can absolutely snowball, pardon the pun, very hard using this ability because it allows you to take early kills and turn them into overwhelming pressure. Build-up isn't something I would suggest tanking or taking on a DPS, and I also wouldn't suggest anything else other than Too Easy. Too Easy is a great pick if you find yourself being on a very squishy character, maybe like Piccolo or something, especially early on. It can give you momentary health to help you really escape. Art of the Decoy is definitely the best pick again from slot 2. You of course can choose the damage abilities, maybe Epic Hunter if you are wanting to really pressure through buffs gained from the jungle. But really that Mimic Decoy is just really, really good. It's that movement speed, it's everything, especially if you're playing a melee character who's not got a lot of range. And then, the damage abilities in tier 2 don't feel too impactful. We move on to really kind of your tier 3. Now, of course, Limit Breaking Jump is, of course, my favorite pick. I don't think that should surprise anyone at all. It's just by far and away the best one. You can maybe choose some of the other ones, but it's just again that mobility, the extra lightning strike, etc. For role players, Lightning Swift and Too Easy again. Generally what I would consider being the best. Strategic Escape, not necessarily too useful. You don't want to be running away too much, but it can help, especially early on. For slot 2, generally here again, it's Mimic. It's just that mobility in group fights really feels absolutely overwhelmingly impactful. So it's very hard to choose one that's not there. And then obviously, depending on who you've chosen as your technical character, you could argue for anything really. I mean, Hit's great with the rush attack one, but really it's Limit Breaking Jump that you're going to want to focus on. Again, being the primary piece to really, really, really help you out with mobility, jumping to players, away from players, out of abilities, out of the big, huge AoEs as well that we get end game. Each character will have a different selection. The ones I've shown you are just a suggestion for you as a player to get to grips with the system. I will probably do videos breaking down each character's best build to best help players. I think that'll be something cool. And each season, they will obviously hopefully buff, change, and alter these divine card combos, so we'll see what happens.